Let's go. Another during the week stream. We just started recording, so let's load. Where did we stop? I know it was just yesterday, but alright, we had the 6 closed rooms. Like the extreme super closed room mystery. And now everybody is in the guest house. When being besieged, your true enemy isn't so much the fear of an unseen culprit, as it is keeping such fears alive for long periods of time. Maria got bored and started complaining that she wanted to watch TV. There was no TV in the lobby, so she decided to return to the cousin room on the 2nd floor. The adults probably wanted to make sure Maria wasn't left on her own. They told all the children to go to the 2nd floor cousin room. George, who was grief-stricken by the loss of his fiancée, led the cousins up to the 2nd floor without any resistance. At first, Nanjo had been reading a book in the lobby, but when he noticed the relatives looking like they wanted to discuss something sinister, he said, "It seems I am in the way," and returned to his room on the 2nd floor. I'm starving. Oh yeah, that is very sinister. It's a good thing Nanjo left. Okay. And if we just keep sitting around, we'll get sleepy too. True, like, how are they gonna get food? I would imagine that all the food is in the main house in the mansion. And also there's nobody who can... I shouldn't say there's nobody who can prepare it. I'm sure everybody here is capable of cooking. Just nobody who would do it as amazingly as Goda. It's only natural. We didn't get any sleep at all last night. Oh, fucking webcam has shifted again, I think. Also, I just accidentally opened Telegram on my desktop. We'll probably end up being barricaded here for a full 24 hours. Maybe they should take turns. Maybe wiser to take naps in turn instead of overstressing ourselves. See? Just what I said. True. My husband and I will remain here, so ask that anyone having trouble staying awake take it easy and rest. Our opponent might be expecting that, right? Even if they couldn't defeat this many people, if that number shrinks enough, they may plan to use that moment to strike. Yeah, but what is the other option? Staying awake until all of you fall asleep from exhaustion? There's 7 of us here, so we could take 3-hour shifts in pairs. Tomorrow morning's a long way off. We still have some energy now, but tonight is going to be tough. Sure, well, anyone sleepy? Don't overdo it and get some rest. Hideyoshi looked around at everyone to see who wanted to sleep first, but no one volunteered. Everyone was just as tired, but no one was bold enough to go to sleep right away. Their fear of the unknown culprit was just as strong as their sleepiness. Nobody? Oh, don't overdo it, everyone. If we get tired, we'll deal with it then. I'll admit I'm sleepy, but I'm not in the mood now. As Eva spoke sharply, she reread the 2nd letter from Beatrice, which had been found in the boiler room. Beatrice had sent them 2 letters, which had repeatedly told them to solve the riddle of the epitaph, and she'd even provoked them by saying she'd give up her assets and the headship if they could solve it. Eva took out a notebook and opened it to a page with the epitaph copied onto it. Is this that epitaph? Yes. Oops. No, I clicked on my browser instead at Umineko. It wasn't entirely to the left of the screen. I hate doing what the culprit says, but we do have time to waste. I think it's the perfect way to stave off boredom. Not a bad way to kill time. Why don't we challenge it together as siblings? Can I borrow that? I'll rewrite it just a little larger. Natsui-san, do you have a slightly larger piece of paper? There should be paper in the servant room. I will bring some. Natsui immediately brought a blank B4 sheet of paper from the servant room. Curia borrowed Eva's notebook, wrote out the epitaph on the paper and laid it out on the table. Then everyone quickly peered down at it. They automatically formed a crowd. Heard about it, but really, this is a tough riddle. Is B4 bigger than A4? I think it is. I don't have a clue what you're talking about. At one point, I also did my best to solve it, but I was just as clueless. If you didn't know, you wouldn't have come all the way out here with a plan to make money. After all, it's 10 tons of gold we're talking about. This is the first time I've read through it seriously, but roughly speaking, couldn't be split into 3 parts. I've been thinking this since last night, but you really are a good thinker, Kiryu-san. Perhaps you'll be able to easily solve the riddle that we couldn't. Yeah, Kiryu's sharp. She might find a more interesting take on it if she comes in without any confusing biases. That's right. Kiryu-san, would you mind giving us your honest opinion after reading the Epitaph? I doubt you'll find it useful. You all give me too much credit. It's fine, just say whatever comes into your head. Let's hear your thoughts. The hints you gave always help me out when I'm worried. Oh, so I have been helpful. It's nice to finally hear about this now. Come on, don't I always thank you? You two sure are close. Uh-oh. Death flag. I'm jealous. But maybe it's just saying that so we think it's gonna be them. And the rest of us would also love to hear these hints of yours. We're just killing time anyway, so relax, okay? Kiryu was disturbed at being praised so highly for something so strange, but they had all the time in the world. Realizing that this was just a way to waste time, she decided to accept the role she had been given. I'm sure I'll say something off the mark, but, well, I'll put forward my ideas. Indeed. What did you mean in the beginning about how it could be divided into 3 parts, roughly speaking? That's not 3 parts. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Well, I just mean what I said. I think that overall the Epitaph can be divided into 3 sections. First there are the 5 lines up until there sleeps the key to the gold. Up until this point is the first part, which directs you to the location of the key. Okay. And then there's the part formed by the 11 lines up until the 10th twilight, which refers to the location of the Golden Land itself. And the remaining 6 lines make up the part after the Golden Land has been reached. Okay, I mean, I have actually divided it like that in my head as well. Like, first there's the riddle of where to find the gold, then there's the description of how to do the whole ceremony, and then there's the description of what happens afterwards. I see. It can be divided into 3 parts about the key, the Golden Land, and the Golden Land's treasure. Even we have been able to grasp that much. There are 3 sections that refer to the key, the door, and the treasure. Nissan, don't butt in any more than you have to. Let Kiryu-san speak her ideas freely. Kiryu, please continue. We see it the same way you do so far, so then. I wonder about the meaning of that thing in the beginning, the beloved hometown. So I was wondering today, isn't mackerel a sweet fish? I think it is. And Kumasawa has been shown to actually have been the original Beatrice who once served the original, the new Beatrice's family. So maybe this doesn't refer to Kinzo's hometown as they have been thinking, but actually Beatrice's hometown. Or like, maybe even Kumasawa's home. I mean, it wouldn't really matter if they both, if Beatrice and the original Beatrice were in the same place. I wonder about the meaning of that thing at the beginning, the beloved hometown. Normally that would refer to where grandfather lived, right? Since father went to all the trouble of telling us that it's beloved, we can imagine that it's a hometown he had strong feelings for. Did father come from Odawara? Odawara is definitely where he was born, but I don't think that's the hometown he loved. I imagine all of his siblings have the same place in mind. Right, this probably isn't Odawara. From what I've heard, he had a very fun time as a youth. Being made the Yoshinoya family head was probably Dad's greatest bit of misfortune in life. Probably. Father didn't actually want to become the head. So where's this place? Is there a river there where sweetfish swim? Maybe there was at the time. There's been a lot of development there since then, and the sweetfish might have disappeared. It would be extremely difficult to investigate whether sweetfish were there during grandfather's boyhood years.
But there probably isn't just a single river. I believe we all gave this a thorough investigation geographically. We even went to the actual place to investigate directly right over.
That was only as a vacation, but the townscape had changed completely since father's time. After all, it was caught up in that war, wasn't it? By now, even precisely locating the place father lived is impossible. I imagine that if father went there himself now, even he wouldn't be able to pick out the place he'd lived anymore.
Well, after all, those guys have also gone through a remarkable recovery.
Does the part about the Sweetfish River bring any place name clearly to mind?
They refer to that. Is that a certain kind of... is that a salmon or something? So, like, not a mackerel? Well, yeah, after all, they're sweetfish, right? People say they live in rivers with clean water, so there are countless rivers that might work. Any stream dad innocently went sweetfish fishing and was probably buried by the development later. It would be different if we had a map from before the war, or a person who knew a lot about how the area was before the war, but...
It probably isn't something like that.
What do you mean?
Behold the Sweetfish River running through my beloved hometown. You who seek the Golden Land, follow its path downstream in search of the key. After these two lines, there's a single blank line. Something is being presented with just these two lines. What if the next three lines continue based upon that something?
What do you mean something is being presented?
I don't know. At any rate, what we can get from these two lines alone isn't something vague, like the question of which river it might be, but the clear presentation of the keyword river. It may be that this isn't a river with water flowing down it. The Sweetfish River might be some kind of metaphor. What sort of impressions does the word sweetfish give?
Sweetfish are like salmon. They're freshwater fish, but they go out into the ocean right after they're born. When they get big, they go back to the river to live there, and then they spawn there and end their lives there. Well, they leave their home at one point, but when they get big, they come back and lay eggs. Might be able to link that to the idea of clan prosperity. Oh, they're freshwater fish, but they can live in the ocean?
Probably have to do that a few more times today.
I didn't know that. I figured river fish wouldn't be able to live in the sea.
And they are called sweetfish because they have a pleasant aroma. I have never eaten one, but I have heard they can be quite delicious when grilled with salt.
What's that, son? You've never eaten salt-grilled seafish? They're delicious. You should try sometime soon. It is a food for commoners.
Oh, so what? I mean, there's a lot of food for commoners that is fucking delicious, so shut your mouth.
Wholly appropriate for your mouth.
This is just my wild idea, but the impression I get from a Sweetfish River makes me suspect a family tree. Oh. Huh. That is an interesting idea. Follow its path downstream in search of the key. So we follow a family tree downstream. That means we go to the beginning of the family? The sweetfish go out into the ocean for a time, but they return to the river where they were born to spawn, right? It reminds me of myself. You're right. By this point, I can confess that I've sometimes suspected that it refers to you and Maria-chan.
I see. As you travel down the river, you will see a village. If you go down the family tree, all you find is Maria's name. Only her name as in Ri. Read Ri or Sato, the character father uses for village here.
Isn't that right? But as you all know, father doesn't like Maria, and he almost never speaks with her. And in the past, father told me to give Maria a completely different name. I just decided to go with Maria on my own. Father was very mad about that. Given that, It's very hard to imagine that he would reference Maria's name in his precious epitaph about who would succeed his wealth and inheritance. Have you ever let Maria-chan read the epitaph? Yes, of course, but she seemed to have no idea what the answer was. She didn't have a clue, and she kept going on about that same occult stuff, about how it was a resurrection ceremony for the witch.
A connection between Father and Maria. Certainly they do share that occult hobby, but they never interacted. Can't imagine if that refers to Maria either.
What sticks out to me is how he went out of his way to add beloved to that first line. Like you all said just now, if Father was reluctant about becoming the Ushinomiya family head, would he have found memories for anything connected to that? I don't think this can be Onawara, which represents the Ushinomiya head family. I believe this word beloved here at the beginning must refer to a place full of very important memories to Father.
Well, that's fine. It won't be hard to pinpoint since we don't have even a trace of a map from that time. But at any rate, there were probably several rivers with sweetfish swimming in them near Dad's hometown during his youth.
That's if we're looking for a river with water flowing down it, right? And then, go on, Kiryu-san. I don't really understand the 3 lines starting with as you travel down it, you will see a village. It's probably linked to the 2 lines above about the Sweetfish River. I imagine it's something we'd understand automatically if we knew what the Sweetfish River really was.
Didn't we just say it could be a family tree? Why aren't we following that line of thinking?
Until we figure that out, it's probably useless to try and solve those 3 lines any further.
So we're stuck unless we know what the Sweetfish River really is. And there's no guarantee it even means a little river. Seriously, what's up with the sweetfish? Did Dad like to eat them? Or does it have some special meaning? Isn't it pointless to read too deeply into it?
If you don't have both a micro and a macro perspective, your field of vision grows narrow. It might be better to be flexible and avoid thinking too deeply. Focusing on an abstract image of a river where fish swim or something that can flow, up or down. Then the answer behind the Sweetfish River passes through the next 3 lines and makes its way to the key to the Golden Land. If you think about it this way, I wonder if it was a mistake to split it into 3 parts. There's actually 4 parts. Go down the Sweetfish River, find the key to the Golden Land, journey to the Golden Land, and the treasure of the Golden Land.
Truly intriguing. Well, you've come this far. Would you mind continuing and telling us your opinion on the most central portion of the epitaph? Up to the point when we reach the Golden Land on the 10th twilight.
That's the most symbolic and also the most disturbing part. Since the word sacrifices keeps coming up, I can't help but think it has something to do with Father's occult ceremonies. How do you see it, Kiryu-san?
Kiryu recrossed her arms several times, peering into the paper with the epitaph copied onto it as though she was looking through it.
This is very difficult. It starts with the one who obtains the key. So you probably won't be able to continue without knowing what that key means. I'll have to give up on that, but I'll take a shot at trying to solve it anyway. Just like how the Sweetfish River isn't necessarily a river with water flowing down it, it's also doubtful that this key is actually something shaped like a key. Right, it might also be a code or a keyword. After all, this key isn't something to be stuck into a keyhole. It's something that selects 6 people to be sacrifices for the first twilight. In that sense, we can say for sure that this key isn't being used to open the door to the Golden Land. But what a disturbing key it is. A key that can choose 6 human sacrifices.
How would a key select anything? Do you spin it like a roulette?
This key indicates a certain group of 6 people. No, we should say it indicates a certain group of 6 things. If this doesn't mean a literal command to offer sacrifices. For example, it could be an anagram.
An anagram? Do you mean playing with letters?
Yes, I've been thinking about it ever since Rosa started talking about the family tree, and about how village was a part of Maria-chan's name. It seems that ever since the words beloved hometown came up, Rudolph-san, for example, has assumed that this epitaph points to some coordinates or some other geographical feature, but that might not be the case. This could be some kind of puzzle, or maybe playing with letters. Forgive me, but how does one play with letters?
Oh well, it's like Sucker Mary Barrels. What? What do you get when we don't take out the E's and R's? Like that. Well, you were raised well enough, so you sons, you probably don't know.
Suck?
What? Wait.
So, oh. Oh yeah, hi King Cobra. It's what I referred to at the end of my stream yesterday, that I might have some more time to stream during the week, but it would be kind of spontaneous, so you'll just... Sorry, there's not a better way of contacting everybody who has been watching so far, but you would just have to, like, keep an eye on Twitch notifications in the evening. Because I have to make it kind of spontaneous because it depends on whether or not we can, like my son falls asleep early or late. Because if he falls asleep at 10 or something, there's no point starting the stream. But if he falls asleep very early, like today, I can do one. Okay. So he just told her to suck my balls. Mary, take out the E's and R's. Huh? Huh?
Stop it. It is an undignified game, inappropriate for you.
Only Natsu he didn't get it, and had a blank look on her face. It seemed she'd only guessed that the answer had to be something undignified, going by Rudolph and A for Sniggers. Natsuhime-san, it's something like this. This is just something from Maria's book of riddles, okay? There's this thing called a Tanuki notebook. The hell is that? It's a notebook written like a code with a lot of tasks mixed in. And if you remove all of the tasks, then the true paragraph pops up. It's a game like that. Oh, I see. Huh? That's when he finally realized the answer to the undignified riddle Rudolph had posed, and her face grew red as she hung her head in embarrassment. So maybe kill actually means remove in that sense, right? What are they doing in Japanese here? Yes, I also thought that. It's possible that the key to the Golden Land is a word with 6 characters. In other words, the ta from the Tanuki notebook is actually 6 characters here. This is getting complicated. Playing with letters, is it? Oh. In Japan, it really feels like a child's game, but it's apparently a stylish form of humor among intellectuals in the English world. Yeah, just ask the guy who wrote Zero Escape and Phi. She is apparently very fond of anagrams. As is Zero the Third. It is easy to imagine that father was interested in it. Hold on, I have to close Telegram. Okay. But by this point I quickly lose my ability to understand it. Up until this part it may have been filled with mysteries, but it was extremely sequential. Maybe, you know, Sweetfish River, go down it, then find the key. All of that is extremely sequential. 5 would have figured that out. Yeah, 5 would have already figured out the entire Epitaph, probably. And then yelled at us for being so slow. Sweetfish River, go down and find the key. All of that is extremely sequential, and as a result we can guess that we gain a 6-character key. What? How do they... I didn't quite follow how they ended up with a 6-character key. Like, why 6 character? I don't know if I missed that. Oh, 6 sacrifices. Oh, because you kill 6 chosen and they think, okay, that's a far stretch, I guess, but let's see where it takes them. It might be that in Japanese this works much better, and whoever translated this probably had a pretty hard time coming up with something that works in English as well, but who knows. I'm not going to check the entire Japanese for this part now. And as a result, we can guess that we gain a 6-character key, but in that case we now don't know what we kill the 6 characters from. That's right. Where do we pull the 6 characters from? It doesn't tell us. On the second Twilight, there are those who remain, which means that at the very least, that something has a limited number of characters. You could read it like it's telling you to continue with the remaining characters after the first 6 characters are removed. Twilight? How many letters does Twilight have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9? No, 8. Can't really think of anything you could do by removing 6 letters from Twilight, though. Other than it. but that doesn't make any sense on the first it. Okay, it is easier to solve in Japanese. Maybe that's why Aaron told me to also have a look at the Japanese Epitaph a long time ago. Huh. Alright. You could read links telling you to continue with the remaining characters until the first 6 characters are removed, and yet we don't know what the something is, even though it should have been shown to us at the beginning. Are we wrong even in our assumption that this is playing with letters? Everyone crossed their arms and fell silent. It felt like they were about to reach a novel understanding they hadn't managed before, but they stumbled just one step short. Then Hideyoshi's stomach rumbled heartily. That silence was broken by laughter.
Sorry. Strangely enough, by spinning the gears in my head for a change, my stomach's gone completely empty. Looks like I can't stand missing breakfast. Natsuri, is there anything to eat here?
There should at least be enough set aside for breakfast. I will prepare it.
I'm also starving, and I'll bet those brats above us are the same.
Except for George, perhaps.
Still, I know there's enough for 80 people, much less a full 3 meals, right? That's right. It'll be a long journey till tomorrow. Maybe we'd better take a trip back to the mansion and fish around for some canned food or something in the kitchen.
Oh, that's gonna be creepy. There's nothing more than crackers and snacks here, but if that will be sufficient, I can get them ready for you all. But with this many people, there might not be any left for lunch.
That will do for now. Would you mind getting those ready?
Maybe you should just go to the mansion right now. Snickers and crack. No. Maybe you should just, like, do it while it's still bright outside. Just everybody with a rifle goes to the mansion, quickly grabs canned food and runs back. It looked like the men had been taken over with an appetite that stopped all thought. The atmosphere grew more peaceful and the Epitaph investigation team split up for the time being, but Eva kept staring at the paper the Epitaph was written on like she was going to burn a hole through it. Playing around with letters was nothing more than a theory of mine. There's a chance it's mistaken. Eva-san, don't take it too seriously, okay? Thank you. I'll just keep doing this on my own. Would you mind leaving me alone? Eva spoke coldly. Kiryu didn't bother her anymore and instead went to help Natsuhi prepare breakfast with Snickers and crack. Nei-san, should we also help prepare breakfast? Then you go help. I'm busy solving this. Sorry, then I'll help. Good grief. How can you be like that? Uh-huh. The Ushinomiya family headship will be given to the person who solves this epitaph. It looks like you've given up from the beginning, as if it has nothing to do with you. But if you can solve it, there's a chance even you'll be able to receive the headship.
I wonder if she even wants it, though.
This is a chance to steal everything from Nissan. Why aren't you taking such a once-in-a-lifetime chance more seriously?
Rosa hung her head, unsure as to how she should answer. Too late, she regretted carelessly speaking to her sister when she was in a bad mood.
If you've noticed anything, say so. Even though Kiryu-san and I were thinking hard, you just kept nodding your head, didn't you? Come on. Isn't there anything you've noticed? Come on. Don't you think this part is strange? Strange? What is? It's just that this whole section is written like a journey to the Golden Land, right? You reach the Golden Land, then you receive its treasures. What's your point? You think there's some sort of keyword tied to those treasures? No, not the treasures themselves. Look, the 10th Twilight isn't how you receive the treasures strange? Is it? At journey's end, you shall attain to the power of the Golden Land treasures once and for the last time. Huh? Oh. Why does it say we'll receive the treasures once and for the last time? If we only get them once, then there's no point telling us it's the last time.
That is true. What does it say here? Bit different.
If we only get them once, there's no point telling us it's the last time. And the same thing in reverse. Oh, but I'm probably splitting hairs over nothing if you think about it. This is father we're talking about after all. He probably just said it that way to make it sound more dramatic.
Hmm. Oh, now what?
Boring. Oh, what is boring? Boring, boring. My, what on earth is this child grumbling about? She's probably annoyed by all the tips you gave Battler Summer, madam. Not really. That doesn't annoy me. On the contrary, I'm happy to see that useless Battler finally reached a level where he can match me. Ho ho, did Battler and I get a little too close? Perhaps those old fogies had best leave you young ones alone. Ooh hoo hoo. When Vajizzle and Renov giggled and cackled, Beatrice's irritation meter finally reached its limit. Enough with everyone laughing at me. Renov, vanish for a while. Disappear, disappear. Certainly, then I shall rest for the time being. True, yeah. Renov bowed his head, still laughing, and vanished. After that, all that remained was the grumpy and irritated figure of Beatrice, and Vigilia, who was coolly enjoying her tea. When you said there are no more than 18 people on this island, you actually cornered yourself. I knew it. I did have this feeling it might be a bit too early. I suppose that was right after all, wasn't it? If you had let him further astray first, things might have been different. But as it was, the trump card was a real waste. You ended up rousing him instead. In addition to denying the witch, Battler had possessed a second victory condition, one of explaining everything without suspecting one of the 18. It was at that point, when he'd been tossed about by two opposing goals, that his heart should have been at its weakest. However, Beatrice had used the red carelessly, proclaiming that there were no more than 18 people. Because of that, Battler had been forced to suspect one of the 18. And he had finally begun to build up the resolve he needed to accept that. Battler was stubborn, but that was exactly why fissures would run all through him like breaking china when he was struck in a fragile spot. That itself should have been his greatest weak point, but... Did I get a little too careless after my complete victory last time? Yes, you were too careless. The last game was a difficult one for Battler-kun. I mean, it said difficult level extreme, didn't it? But it seems this game will be become a difficult one for you. A broken vase will never return to its original form, so it would be more constructive to think of a next move rather than regretfully picking up the pieces. However, now that Battler has figured out as much as he has, how should I plot against him? Oh, your troubled face is an even better snack than Renov's cookies. You and Battler, and even Renov, are treating me like sweets now, even though I'm not sweet at all. With a shameful childlike face that she would never have shown in front of Battler, Beatrice rolled her head around on top of the table. Teacher, at least give me a hint. Oh? What kind of hint? If you know some really good move that'll leave Battler speechless and make him want to accept me, I won't ask you to say it outright, so even if it's just a hint. I can't. I am on Battler-kun's side right now, so I couldn't teach you something that would give you an advantage. Come on, don't be so stingy. Your disciple's in trouble, right? I seem to remember you brazenly boasting that you had surpassed your teacher. Please act like an old person and give me just a bit of your crafty ideas, please. It's mean if you only help Battler. My, you're still a spoiled child. But it's true that I might have given Battler-kun a few too many hints. It did serve as a scolding to you, but perhaps it was a little too much support for a fair game. Oh, come on, no. How is this fair? Isn't that right? Isn't that right? Please, teacher, at least just a hint now. This is only a hint. Think about what it means by yourself, okay? Yeah. I'll think about it myself, so please. Please give me one that'll leave Battler down in the dumps, teacher. Considering how she acted like a great and mighty witch in front of Battler, the way she acted when he wasn't around was truly pathetic. Virgilia sighed at how childish Beato still was despite all the time that had passed. Then, just a hint. Do you know of Aesop's fable, The North Wind and the Sun? Of course. It's a story about how the North Wind and the Sun challenge each other to see who can steal the cloak of a traveler, right? That's right. Violent, impatient methods aren't necessarily the best decisions in all cases. You don't have to tell me that. I've already reflected on the mistakes I made when I was too anxious to achieve victory. Think well about what this means. And furthermore, there's one point that Battler seems to be misunderstanding a bit, but he isn't the only one. Do you understand the victory conditions of this game? What else is there other than making Battler surrender? See? You're already wrong there. How am I wrong? Your victory isn't making Battler surrender. Isn't it making Battler accept your existence? What's this? You want me to butter him up, begging him to accept me as a witch? How foolish. I haven't sunk that low. Beato growled like a dog in a bad mood. Virgilia shrugged her shoulders, snickering at her disciple, who was as short-tempered as ever. That is my hint. For the rest, you'll have to consider deeply on your own. In any event, your moves up until now will not work on Battlercon. A significant technical adjustment will probably be required. I don't need you to tell me that. I don't have a clue what you mean by the North Wind and the Sun, but at any rate I realize I'll have to alter my course. I'll introduce a scheme clever enough to surprise even you, teacher. Oh, I look forward to it. I wonder how Battlercon will tackle that. I wish you good luck as well. After Battler, you mean? Huh. Oh? Oh. Are you going to give up and resign already? I guess you are that tired. If only you just grab a futon and sleep. As my mind grew vague and I pretended to fight my drowsiness while sinking deeper and deeper into the sofa, I scolded myself. You also dreamed about stealing the position of family head from Klaus, right? Even though my magic has given you a chance, are you already throwing it away? You could say that, but this riddle is really hard. Even a wire puzzle would be better. At least in that case, you know for sure that it's solvable, but in the case of this Epitaph riddle, we've been given no reason to be sure of that. I might just be fighting a useless battle. Still hazy, I looked at the notebook I had been holding the whole time. It was open to a page with the Epitaph, which I must have stared at hard enough to burn holes in it on so many hundreds of nights I had lost count. That page is truly a door. On the other side lies the Golden Land, the place I've wanted to direct myself to no matter the effort ever since I was a child, and the place I was never able to reach. Am I touching the door with both hands? With the book? No, the door right there in front of me ready to be opened and yet still unable to reach the other side? That's right, your hand is already on the door. Come on, open it with all your strength and read the characters written on the door. Open it with all my strength. Read the characters written on the door. Strain your eyes. See through to the thing beyond the Epitaph written in the notebook. The beloved hometown definitely won't betray our expectations. The only past fatherhood dear happened during his childhood years. That's right. And what about the Sweetfish River? There are several rivers where they swim, and there's reason to doubt that this just refers to one close to the place father lived. If we take out a map and start calculating which rivers with Sweetfish were closest, things will quickly get vague and we won't be able to narrow it down. Didn't you say it yourself? You said it didn't have to be a river with water flowing down it. If the word Sweetfish is too complicated, why not forget it? Think of a river. A river. Linking it with the family tree wasn't a bad idea. Try thinking about how to link a river with something else along those lines. It isn't a river. But where else could Sweetfish swim? Oh, but if we're talking about places Sweetfish can swim, then maybe the ocean has something to do with this. Didn't my husband even say that they go out into the ocean even though there's river fish? To the ocean? No, but... Huh? That's a kind of weird rhythm. Did you notice? But that's just a faint memory. There's supposed to be a room for storing books in this building, right? If you investigate, you can make sure. If that is the Sweetfish River, and if the key might be a 6-character word, then could the key actually be resting in that river? I don't know. Anyway, you have to search in the atlas. But even if I know that, I don't know from what I should take the 6 characters. You really don't know? Think deeply. We're pretty smart, so our ideas are solid. Don't think of it like it's something as massive as the riddle of the Epitaph, but like it's a child's riddle. Men are always children, no matter how old they get. Even if father has advanced into old age, that doesn't change the fact that he's essentially a child at heart. Throw away your awe of father. Think of this like as a worthless infantile game with riddles like the ones Maria suddenly brought up out on the boat. Riddles. Worthless infantile. Huh. I'm sure that was... What was it? I'm sure if my memory isn't wrong, that it's probably the case. No, I don't have to rely on my vague memory. I should be able to figure that out immediately by searching the library. We've probably already noticed the answer. All that's left is to investigate whether it's correct or not. Come on, Ava. Let's go to the library, making sure no one sees us. There we should find a mountain of thick books that didn't fit in Father's study. I'm sure we'll find a book that answers our question. Quickly. This is the first and last chance we'll ever get to make our dreams come true. And suppose we're not going to get anything about that, because it's still the questions aren't. When Natsuhi tried to lay a blanket over her, Eva suddenly jumped up. I'm sorry, it looks like I woke you.
Eva, if you're sleepy, don't overdo it. You rest first.
Thank you. I'm just going to the bathroom for a bit to wash my face.
You should take it easy and rest. You're just gonna make yourself feel worse, you know.
I told you I'm fine. I'll be right back. After leaving only those words behind, I rapidly left the lobby. The lobby was partitioned off by a door, so as soon as I went into the corridor, they could no longer see me. The library was next to the servant room. Father always owned a vast book collection, but ever since he started to become engrossed with his occult hobby, that collection grew even larger, so that the normal books suitable for a normal study have been forced out as his study overflowed. This so-called library was mostly used as a storage room for those normal books. They were all thick, like complete encyclopedias for intellectuals, but that was very convenient for me now that I was investigating something. I entered softly, and just in case, I checked the room with my gun ready, making sure that there were no suspicious people there. Then I locked it from the inside. I actually wasn't thinking that the murderer might be hiding somewhere. What scared me was the thought that one of my siblings might hear what I was investigating. She locked the door. Does that mean she's gonna die next? My heart had started racing before I realized it. I was half asleep just a moment ago, so I didn't realize how significant this thing I noticed was. And of course we're not gonna hear what she noticed, right? But as I gradually became aware, my heart started to feel like it was about to explode. I wonder if any of the other siblings have noticed this. I don't think Klaus and Rudolph will notice, but I don't know about Kyria. She has extraordinarily good intuition. And I don't know about Rosa either. Rosa's stupid too. She always has been, incredibly so. Well, that's nice. Really? I'd say she was wise enough to make you think she was stupid, so that she didn't earn herself unnecessary malice. Here it is. I wonder if we'll find it in this one. I pulled the book out and flipped through the pages. Nope. So this is the Sweetfish River. I see. This is what the Sweetfish River means. Don't dawdle around. Research further. Yes, I understand. As you travel down it, you will see a village. By using the character Sato, does he mean a town or something? That's just an area of dense population, so there could be any number of those. Why have you stopped thinking? Oh, is this too much work for you? If only you just give up. If only you just hand the Ushinomiya headship over to Kyria. I don't want to. I will become the head. This is my first and last chance. What is this village? What does it mean? Do you find one if you go down the river? In the village, look for the shore. The two will tell you of. That's Kishi, right? It means shore. Get it? No, wait. Was Kishi shore? I understand. Shore. Right before my eyes, the pieces that I hadn't been able to understand at all began to snap into place all by themselves. I couldn't even remember to close my open mouth. My throat grew completely dry. Is it really okay for this to be the answer? This? Oh, if only all of you knew what I was just thinking about right now, but I'm gonna tease you, I'm not gonna say it. This isn't 6 characters at all. I'm absolutely sure this is the answer, but this doesn't reach 6 characters at all. Did you stop thinking again? In that case, think of a way you could read it with 6 characters. If you can't think of one, then research it. There has to be an answer. You must not doubt that. Was believing that too much for you? If only you just cry yourself to sleep and then you can just give up and die. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 characters. I found it. This is the key to the Golden Land. Yes, this is the key to the Golden Land. The key to our childhood dreams. The only keyhole this key can be stuck in is that place. That has to be what offering the sacrifices actually means. I'm sure you get it by now, right? Yeah, thanks for not telling us anything. Fuck you. Fuck you, game.